And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of the Conscious Thoughts Report here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. My name is Kibiobi Awadu, aka the Conscious Thruster. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific time, at 12 noon Eastern time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. East Africa time. We get together with you and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives. We deal with entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Friday. No, it's Monday. It is the 1st of December. The year 2025 in the Western calendar, Gregorian calendar. This corresponds to the year 6266 in the Kemetic calendar. To which we have realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on livinginblack.com. And here is what we have on store for today. I hope you're going to find this to be a fascinating conversation. It's going to be a little bit technical, but I hope it does not leave anyone behind, because it's very, very important, the lesson we're going to get for today. We're talking about combating neurodegenerative diseases, a functional medicine approach. Now, this is very, very important. Let me give you the intro to today's program. Today's class describes how ALS, Alzheimer's, Huntington's disease, and multiple sclerosis are neurodegenerative disorders, increasingly linked to chronic inflammation and immune dysfunction. While not all are classically autoimmune, they involve immune system attacks on neural tissue, driven by factors like oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, and gut-brain axis disruption. The functional medicine approach targets root causes, optimizing nutrition, correcting deficiencies, identifying environmental toxins, and rebalancing the body's systems. Today, we describe personalized interventions to reduce neuroinflammation, support brain resilience, aiming not just to slow, but to prevent or potentially reverse dysfunction through holistic, lifestyle-driven strategies. And that is our program for today. It's going to be a little technical. I don't want to warn you, because I don't want to scare anybody off at the beginning of the show. You will definitely learn some things that I believe you will find really quite valuable. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to post up a little short piece of video that talks about a new breakthrough that's been discovered it's been discovered by scientists that are looking closely into the root causes of Alzheimer's and other diseases and disorders. So let me put this video up, present the screen, share the screen, and I thought I had done this already, but it don't take but a second. And let me share this screen, turn it on here, put it on the desktop, and this video is just a couple of minutes long. You tell me what you think.
I can tell you that through 20 years of research and what you would call some luck, we came across a molecule that in the brain that we're calling a switch that actually controls the loss of the nerve cell connections in the brain. It's known that this molecule is decreased in the Alzheimer's brain, but no one really understood why or what it was doing. What we discovered was that when we force this switch, this molecule, when we force it to be expressed normally again in a brain that's got Alzheimer's, in this case in a mouse brain, we can actually rescue the behavior of this mouse. We can actually rescue its memory. We also show that we can restore its synapses even when amyloid is present in the brain and even when there's inflammation in the brain. This particular molecule, this switch, was able to rescue the synaptic loss. I can tell you that through
All right.
20 years of research.
That should give us a good idea of the level of where we're going in today. I don't think we're going in too heavy. If you disagree and you want me to lighten it up a little bit, you let me know. Let's go into our research for I have today. First, we're talking about these different diseases and disorders, and let's connect them all together. Well, first of all, before we go into that, let's talk about this synaptic switch that he was referring to, the switch in the brain for memory and synapse restoration. Researchers have identified a critical protein and molecular mechanism that act as a switch to potentially rescue memory and restore synapses in the brains of mice. Of course, they have to do these studies on mice brains. Doing so on humans would be unethical and actually illegal according to international laws. This is groundbreaking work, and it does offer promising avenues for treating neurodegenerative diseases. Now, at the end of today's discussion, we're going to talk about how our controllable, natural, holistic, nutrition-based strategies will serve to prolong and to restore and rejuvenate these processes. That's the key here today. First, key findings include, number one, mitochondrial activation. Mitochondria is the part of the cell that's responsible for generating the energy. And this energy is necessary for all cells to function within the body. Researchers had identified a critical protein. A recent study, I should say, discovered that boosting mitochondrial activity using a novel tool called microdred DGS can improve memory in mouse models. Mitochondria, often referred to as the powerhouse of cells, are crucial in energizing neurons for proper communication. When their function is impaired, cognitive deficits occur. So, number one, mitochondrial activation. Number two, protein P131. This is a specific protein manufactured by the body. Another significant finding centers around the protein P131, which has shown neuroprotective effects by preventing toxic protein accumulation at synapses, enhancing the level of P131. And synapses are basically crossroads of these neurological pathways. Enhancing the level of P131 can restore synaptic functions and significantly extend lifespan in models of neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. And point number three, protein FTL1. The FTL1 protein has emerged as a master switch in age-related memory decline. Reducing FTL1 levels in older mice has been linked to improved memory and restored neural connections, suggesting that targeting this protein might counteract cognitive decline. So we're going to look at a brief table of these switches and their effects. First, there's the mitochondrial DGS. It activates mitochondrial function, restores memory performance in dementia models, and it is a link between mitochondrial dysfunction and cognitive deficits. P131 facilitates proteasome transport, that's an enzyme, prevents protein accumulation, restores synaptic function, and is implicated in synaptic dysfunction in neurodegeneration. And the third element, FTL1, regulates synaptic aging, enhances memory recovery in older mice, restores synaptic function, and it is implicated in synaptic dysfunction in neurodegeneration. Now, don't worry if you don't understand and if you can't put all of that together in one cognitive sentence. Don't worry, we got you covered, because we're going to, your body, you don't think about most of the functions inside your body, but your body does them anyways because it's necessary to preserve your body and your cells. So we're going to put it all together with you, for you, and we're going to show how all of this functions optimally. And that is our goal today. Bear with me as I look for this other stream on my desktop. And, oh, it's over here. Gotcha. And I want to say greetings. I welcome anybody into the program today. You can identify yourself. Don't let this stuff fool you. Don't let it fool you. This is good information that I'm telling you. And if you don't intend to end up with cognitive disorders, with Huntington's disease, Alzheimer's, muscular sclerosis, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, not Lou Gehrig's disease, yes, Lou Gehrig's disease, then you are paying attention to us right now as we continue this research. So here we go. We're going to go deeper into it. Implications of the research. Research illustrates the potential for targeting specific cellular pathways to reverse cognitive decline and memory loss by activating mitochondrial function and managing synaptic health through proteins like P131 and FTL1. Scientists may develop effective therapies for conditions like Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative diseases. Now, you and I know whenever we hear scientists may develop effective therapies, that's attempting to imitate what the body is to do naturally. Don't make me say that again. To imitate what the body is to do naturally. The role of these molecule switches provides a new perspective on how to approach treatment strategies, focus not just on symptoms, but at restoring brain health at a fundamental level. Further studies are essential for translating these findings into viable treatments for humans, and they highlight an exciting frontier in neuroscience research. Now, I don't want to skip forward because we're going to have nutrition solutions putting on the table, but we have to understand what is it that connects ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, Huntington's disease, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's. What do all of these diseases have in common? Are these neurodegenerative disorders considered autoimmune diseases? What would be a functional medicine approach to preventing or reversing these disorders? ALS, Alzheimer's disease, Huntington's disease, and multiple sclerosis are all classified as neurodegenerative disorders due to their involvement in progressive neuron loss or damage in the central nervous system. They share features like muscle weakness, mobility issues, cognitive decline, and scarring or hardening around nerve cells. Though MS primarily targets the myelin sheaths, while the others affect motor neurons or brain proteins directly. Motor neurons meaning the neurons involved in the motoring system, getting body movement, etc. Or brain proteins. That in the case of Alzheimer's, the accumulation of these alkaloid fibers in these unnatural proteins in the brain material. These conditions are not uniformly considered autoimmune diseases. MS is widely recognized as an autoimmune disorder where the immune system attacks myelin, but ALS, Alzheimer's, and Huntington's are primarily neurodegenerative. ALS and Huntington from motor neuron degeneration and genetic mutations, respectively, and Alzheimer's from protein aggregates, amyloids, or like beta amyloid, though emerging research suggests possible autoimmune components in ALS and Alzheimer's. So recent research, they said, emerging research, but I went there, you see, I went there immediately. So consider that the information you're getting from me is actually on the absolute front edge of this research. Because quite simply, it's just logical to me. And where the research may not yet exist or may not be fully complemented, or I may not have read it, my intuition has automatically told me all of these things are related to autoimmune disorder. Functional medicine approaches focus on root causes of autoimmune disorders like inflammation, oxidative stress, gut dysbiosis, toxins, neurotoxins, and nutrient deficiencies to potentially slow progression or support prevention rather than reversal, which lacks strong evidence. Now, earlier as I was logging into the program, and I see you in the house for Africa One. Great to have you with us today, beloved. Earlier, before I went on the air, I was playing a short video, and the short video had to deal with titanium dioxide in the food supply. Titanium dioxide is banned as a food additive in Europe. In America, it is not banned by the National Institutes of Health and the FDA, Food and Drug Administration. They are derelict of duty. So I am telling you today, get these toxins out of your food supply. And if you can, detoxify your body of titanium dioxide and other heavy metals like lead, mercury, aluminum. A bunch of different metals are in your body. You got to get them out. You have to have a strategy for getting them out. Otherwise, you may be susceptible to a neurodegenerative disease as you get into your older years. We cannot take this too lightly. So, functional medicine approaches include, number one, anti-inflammatory, nutrient-dense diets, rich in antioxidants, example given, omega-3s, vitamin C, vitamin E, and gut-supporting foods like probiotics and prebiotics. 2, supplements such as CoQ10, glutathione, and CBD, that's cannabidiol, to combat oxidative stress and support mitochondria. 3, lifestyle interventions like exercise, detoxification from heavy metals and pesticides, and autophagy promoting practices, example given, intermittent fasting. And that's just one of 20 different autophagy promoting practices that we talked about just a few days ago here on LAB Radio. So granted, we're ahead of the curve and you are with us, and therefore you are my beloved sister, Africa One, for Africa One. You are ahead of the curve, and that's a beautiful thing. Personalized testing for imbalances, integrating with conventional care. Now, that conventional care, I'm scared of it myself. But the personalized testing is one thing that they do through conventional care, because quite honestly, I think they're trying to run up your bill as high as they can get it. And so they're going to run as many tests as they have available to them. You may not need the test if you engage wholly and completely in preventative strategies. How do neurodegenerative diseases share common pathological mechanisms? That's the question on the table. Neurodegenerative diseases share common pathological mechanisms, including protein misfolding in the case of Alzheimer's, and aggregation, impaired protein clearance via autophagy and proteasomes, mitochondrial dysfunction, oxidative stress, neuroinflammation, and disruptions in synaptic function and axonal transport. Let's talk about these. Protein misfolding and aggregation. Diseases like Alzheimer's, beta amyloid and tau proteins involved. Parkinson's, alpha-synuclein. ALS, TDP43. And Huntington's, polyglutamine, feature accumulation of misfolded proteins that form toxic inclusions, seeding spread across brain regions. These aggregates overwhelm cellular quality control, leading to neuronal toxicity. Now, that was an incredibly revealing, powerful paragraph. It didn't say a lot, but what it did say was in a language that you and I have a hard time decoding. We may not even recognize it. I'm going to reread that one more time and just go through it. Diseases like Alzheimer's, including beta amyloid and tau proteins. Parkinson's, involving alpha-synuclein. ALS, involving TDP43. And Huntington's, involving polyglutamine, feature accumulation of misfolded proteins that form toxic inclusions, seeding spread across brain regions. These aggregates, the toxic inclusions, overwhelm cellular quality control, leading to neuronal toxicity. Next, impaired clearance pathways. These aggregates are all in process, but they're not being cleared. So now we're talking about impaired clearance pathways. Defective ubiquitin proteasome and autophagy lysosomal systems fail to degrade aberrant proteins, a hallmark across the spectrum of disorders. Stress granules, which form under cellular stress, can also contribute to protein sequestration and impaired clearance. Point 3. Mitochondrial and oxidative stress. Defective ubiquitin proteasome, read that. Mitochondrial dysfunction reduces ATP adenosine triphosphate production and increases reactive oxygen species, damaging neurons in ALS, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and Huntington's. This bioenergetic failure exacerbates protein pathology and inflammation. Inflammation and genetic overlaps. Maladaptive innate immune responses. Maladaptive innate immune responses amplify the damage, with shared genetic risks, example given in lysosomal genes, that's a part of our process of autophagy, and protein interactions linking diseases. These mechanisms converge despite disease-specific triggers driving progressive neuron loss. So we're going to go a little deeper. What role does neuroinflammation, inflammation of the nervous system, play in multiple neurodegenerative diseases? Neuroinflammation plays a central role in multiple degenerative diseases by initially serving as a protective response via glial cell activation microglia, and astrocytes, but transitioning to chronic pathology that amplifies neuron damage, protein aggregation, and disease protection. So what begins as a part of our protective system through glial cell activation goes to chronic pathology that begins to amplify neuron damage, protein aggregation, those abnormal proteins, and disease progression. Initiation and amplification. Protein aggregates like amyloid beta in Alzheimer's, alpha-synuclein in Parkinson's, TDP-43 in ALS, and mutant Huntington in Huntington's act as damage-associated molecular patterns, DAMPs, activating microglia to release pro-inflammatory cytokines, chemokines, reverse oxygen species, and nitric oxide. This creates positive feedback loops where dying neurons release more DAMPs, sustaining inflammation and exacerbating aggregates across diseases like multiple sclerosis, ALS, and Alzheimer's. Chronic effects and neurotoxicity. Prolonged microglial activation leads to oxidative nitrosative stress, synaptic loss, and direct neuronal death. This is common in Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, ALS, Huntington's, and multiple sclerosis. Genetic and environmental factors, example given immune-related genes, link inflammation to disease risk, turning acute defense into a driver of neurodegeneration. So what was supposed to be adaptive has become maladaptive. It's being driven by genetic and environmental factors. Dual role. I guess that's what I'm trying to describe right there. They're a dual role. While acute neuroinflammation aids debris clearance and repair, failure to resolve it due to impaired autophagy or aging promotes toxicity, highlighting its double-edged nature in disorders like AD and HD. And those would be AD and HD. I don't know what the disorders are. Alzheimer's disease and Huntington's disease. What could be a comprehensive nutrition solution for dealing with this group of disorders? What supplements are shown to be preventative? So now we're getting into solutions. A comprehensive nutrition solution for neurodegenerative diseases like ALS, Alzheimer's, Huntington's, and MS emphasizes anti-inflammatory, antioxidant-rich diets that target shared mechanisms such as neuroinflammation, oxidative stress, and mitochondrial dysfunction. The Mediterranean diet, high in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, omega-3 fatty acids from fish, olive oil, nuts, and moderate wine, reduces oxidative stress and supports gut microbiota to produce anti-inflammatory short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, potentially lowering the risk across these disorders. Ketogenic or modified Mediterranean ketogenic diets promote ketone metabolism for neuroprotection, enhancing mitochondrial function and decrease free radicals, with benefits seen in ALS and multiple sclerosis models. And the ketogenic diet, you can have a ketogenic diet, no doubt. We've talked about that a lot. But ketosis is a natural progression process of fasting, the 3-day water fast. In the last 2 full days of water fast, you are consuming ketones as a primary source of energy. So not only should you produce those ketones, but you should also be as aggressive with your exercise routine and your physical activity during that time so that you are getting the maximum benefits of the ketogenic diet. Key dietary principles include prioritize plant-based foods, leafy greens, berries, cruciferous vegetables for antioxidants and fiber to combat protein aggregation and inflammation. Point 2 dietary principle, incorporate intermittent fasting or calorie restriction to boost autophagy, reduce neuroinflammation, and improve your gut diversity with beneficial bacteria like lactobacilliaceae. Lactobacilliaceae. 3. Limit or eliminate processed red meats, saturated fats, and refined sugars, which exacerbate neuroinflammation and cognitive decline. Limit, or I say eliminate, red meats, saturated fats, and refined sugars. Let's talk about the supplements for which evidence has been shown. Vitamin A, B complex, B2, B6, B9, and folate, B12, vitamin C, vitamin D, and vitamin E, and vitamin K show lower serum levels in patients and offer preventive potential by reducing homocysteine, tau, hyperphosphorylation, and oxidative stress. And when we talk about tau, T-A-U, that's a protein involved in these mental degenerative disorders. They lower serum levels in patients and offer protective potential by reducing homocysteine, tau, hyperphosphorylation, and oxidative damage, though results vary by the study. Omega-3s, coenzyme Q10, and catechins like EGCG from green tea demonstrate preclinical neuroprotection against protein aggregation and reverse oxygen species in Alzheimer's models. These align with functional medicine by addressing root causes, but consult professionals for personalized dosing as human trials show mixed cognitive outcomes. Next, dietary patterns with the strongest evidence to slow neurodegeneration. The MIND diet, that stands for Mediterranean Intervention for Neurodegenerative Delay. The MIND diet shows the strongest evidence for slowing neurodegeneration with high adherence to 17% lower dementia risk, slower cognitive decline, and reduced Alzheimer's mortality in large cohorts and meta-analysis. The MIND diet features this hybrid pattern, prioritizes brain protective foods while limiting harmful ones. And again, MIND was hybrided with DASH, that these are dietary approach for SH. Let me get that real quickly. That is, let me define this real quickly so I can have this handy. DASH stands for, bear with me, it's coming up. Come on, computer, don't be so slow. Please don't mess with me today. DASH stands for, I gotta push all these buttons just to get a definition. What is a DASH intervention? Dietary approaches to stop hypertension. That's a must. That's an absolute necessary. The approach to use your food to get rid of your hypertension, your high blood pressure. I've been saying this all along. The DASH intervention to get rid of high blood pressure Takes 5 days. If you adhere strictly to it, 5 days. You've been on hypertension blood pressure medicine for how long? For 10 years. Doctors will keep you on that medicine for 10 years and more. You can get rid of it in just a couple of days, a few days. Today is Monday. By next Monday, your hypertension is gone because you went to a strict DASH diet and held strict to it. Enough said. If people are going to do it or they're not, I'm sorry for Africa. What I know, you know what I'm talking about. This hybrid diet prioritizes brain protective foods while limiting harmful ones. 1. Green leafy vegetables. 6 plus servings a week. Other vegetables daily include berries, 2 plus servings a week. Nuts, 5 plus servings a week. Whole grains, 3 plus servings a day. Fish, 1 serving per week. Poultry, 2 servings per week. This is the Mediterranean diet. Beans, 3 plus servings a week. Olive oil as a primary fat. It limits or eliminates processed meats, less than 4 servings a week. Butter, less than 1 tablespoon per day. Cheese, less than 1 serving per week. Pastries and sweets, less than 5 servings a week. So that's the Mediterranean diet, Mediterranean DASH diet. And that's not even DASH, that's just a MIND diet, Mediterranean diet. These components provide antioxidants, flavonoids, folate, and anti-inflammatory effects that combat oxidative stress and beta amyloid buildup. Supporting patterns include Mediterranean diet, the A-Med, associated with a 28% lower Alzheimer's mortality and better cognitive outcomes via higher vegetables, nuts, fruits, fish, and moderate alcohol, lower sweets, and red meat. 2, plant-based diet. That's where I'm at. Plant-based diet, HPDI. HEI as of 2015. It emphasizes vegetables, fruits, legumes, nuts, unsaturated fats, and seafood. Seafood's not a plant. While minimizing processed meats and sugars, correlating with lower mild cognitive impairment odds. Consistent across reviews, these patterns reduce neuroinflammation and support mitochondrial health, though causation requires more controlled trials. Researchers have identified several molecular switches in mouse brains. We were talking about this in the earlier piece of video I showed you at the beginning of the program. Neural or genetic control points that, when flipped, increase production or activation of specific molecules, for example, small compounds or astrocyte-derived proteins that restore synapses and rescue memory in mouse models of aging and Alzheimer-like disease. It's going to go over that again. Overview of the concept. A molecular switch in the brain is any mechanism, neural circuit, gene regulator, or biochemical pathway that can be turned up or down to change the level or activity of a downstream molecule that affects synapses and memory. Flipping such a switch can re-engage plasticity models or programs, rebuild lost synaptic contacts, and revive memory circuits in mice, producing measurable improvements in learning and recall. Example: a small compound that jumpstarts memory circuits. One line of work identified a synthetic molecule that restores cognitive function in Alzheimer's model mice by enhancing the brain's electrical rhythms and reactivating memory circuitry. Treated animals showed improved memory performance after the compound was given, demonstrating that pharmacologically turning on a circuit level process can rescue cognition. Example, RNA editing as a tunable molecular switch. Now, I'm not into this whole gene editing thing that's emerging right now in medicine. We're talking about the cutting edge of this research today, so that's going to include what they have to share, but I'm not into it. RNA editing is a tunable molecular switch. Now, you can impact your RNA through the process called epigenetics. That's what epigenetics is about, the way of impacting our RNA to decode the DNA in manners which are more favorable to our desired outcome. One line of work identified a synthetic molecule that restores cognitive function in Alzheimer's model mice by enhancing the brain's electrical rhythms and reactivating memory circuitry. I read that already. Let me skip. RNA editing as a tunable molecular switch. Another study found that RNA editing processes act like a molecular dial that controls the stability and connectivity of synapses. By increasing specific RNA editing activity in mice, researchers were able to prevent synaptic breakdown and preserve connections that underlie memory, effectively using an endogenous editing mechanism as a switch to protect synapses. The term endogenous editing mechanism means your body creates it. Endo meaning self or your body. Genus meaning create. Endogenous editing mechanism. Example, genetic or circuit switches that change synaptic contacts. Researchers have also described genetic switches, for example, manipulating levels of particular proteins in hippocampal circuits, such as regulators of axon dendrite contacts, increases the number of functional synaptic contacts between dentate gyrus cells and downstream interneurons, sharpening memory precision and restoring connectivity in aged animals. Point, astrocyte-derived molecules that rebuild synapses. A different approach boosts production of astrocyte-secreted proteins. For example, HEVIN, HEVIN, Sparkle1, increases HEVIN, HEVIN, in mouse brains, promotes formation and maintenance of excitatory synapses, and has been shown to protect against cognitive decline in mouse models, illustrating how turning on a glial-derived molecular program can rebuild synaptic architecture and improve memory. Rebuild synaptic architecture, that means restore function. That's reverse the decline. Turning on a glial-derived molecular program can rebuild synaptic architecture and improve memory. Next, we talk about limitations, risks, and the next steps. Point 1, translation to humans is uncertain. Mouse rescue experiments show proof of principle, but do not guarantee safety or efficacy in people. Point 2, off-target effects and timing matter. Overactivating plasticity can cause aberrant wiring or seizures. Precise dosing and targeting are essential. And point 3, actionable research steps. Replicate findings across various models. Map cell types and timing for safe activation. And develop targeted delivery. Example given, viral vectors, blood-brain permeable small molecules before clinical trials. And there is a link here of other additional research that I was looking at. It's entitled Neurodegenerative Diseases, Regenerative Mechanisms, and Novel Therapeutic Approaches. And this looks real interesting. Let me see if I can put this up for you to have access to. Where is we is. And no one is commenting today. I have a very small audience. I hope you at least will hit the like button and let me know that you do appreciate what we are talking about today. I personally think we're really on to something, but I may be wrong. This is new treatment reverses. No, that was the, here, let me just post this up here. Neurodegenerative diseases. And one more time, I'm going to post it on the Facebook page. And also, I have it up for Rumble. I posted that. Where is my... I see you in the house, Brother Eddie Aquava. And he says greetings. And yeah, Brother Eddie, you stepped into a deep class today. But this is really, really good information. No one else, very few people are going to be talking on a podcast about this today. I go through a lot of health podcasts on a daily basis looking for what are the subject. And quite simply, we're going deeper here today than the others dare tread. And I know I have the danger of dislocating my audience because they don't like the language. They can't use it. They can't follow it. But doggone it, we are on to something, Eddie, today. We are on to something. And let's just continue to pursue it. I did get a message today from a friend of mine. Said there will be a Pan-African Mental Health and Wellness Conference in Accra, Ghana, March 21, 2025. I think he meant 2026. Would you be available to accompany my wife and I to Ghana as a guide to show us around Accra on our inaugural trip? Yeah, I told him, yeah, man, contact me. And that's 2026, I think that is. And is that, let me just type in a note, is that date, is that date 2026? And there we go. And I just sent that link to the research that I was just studying so he can understand what work I am doing across this field of mental health and wellness. This is definitely mental wellness we're talking about today. And here's the thing. Here's why I'm doing this, Brother Eddie in Africa One, because I understand LIB Radio has persisted for 23 years and it is getting close to being over. We are going to be doing a fund drive this month. I'm going to reserve a few minutes so I can talk you and everyone else who's out there listening to contribute some funds to what we're doing. But at the same time, I got to start thinking down the road. I realized looking back at my life, I was not thinking further ahead, and I created many deep, deep problems for myself. I've got to do a better job of thinking ahead. So we're moving into something else. I hope you find it to be very useful. I'm going to go back to my research document here. And that one I just shared with you was entitled Neurodegenerative Diseases, Regenerative Medicine, and Novel Therapeutic Approaches. And here I can always open that up and see how much of this did we already get into. Here is the abstract from the article written by Rashad Hussain et al. From the University of Rochester, New York. Abstract. Regeneration refers to regrowth of tissue in the central nervous system. It includes generation of new neurons, glia, myelin, and synapses, as well as the regaining of essential functions, sensory, motor, emotional, and cognitive abilities. Unfortunately, regeneration within the nervous system is very slow compared to other body systems. This relative slowness is attributed to increased vulnerability to irreversible cellular insults and a loss of function due to the very long lifespan of neurons. The stretch of cells and cytoplasm over several dozens of inches throughout the body, insufficiency of the tissue level waste removal system, and minimal neural cell proliferation self-renewal capacity. In this context, this current review summarized the most common features of major neurodegenerative disorders, their causes and consequences, and proposed novel therapeutic approaches. And causes and consequences, I'm looking at these different categories. This is a very long peer review article. Intracellular signaling molecules, we're talking about that today. Current treatment programs, I don't want to know the current treatment. I want to know future strategies. Number 5, despite advancements in the field of molecular biology, genetics, and pharmaceutical sciences, current biomedical science is a long way from the ultimate goal of identifying the risk factors, specific diagnostic tools, and appropriate strategies for the effective treatment of these neurodegenerative disorders. With an increasing burden on society, a need for newer treatment strategies is also in increasing demand. Current treatment approaches mainly rely on the survival of affected neurons and slowing the disease progression. This writing is based on some novel approaches which can promote the longevity of the afflicted neurons and might slow down the degeneration process. And so that's what this article is, and it goes on to talk about these different strategies: inhibiting and disaggregating protein aggregates, that's to prevent Alzheimer's. It talks about induction of endogenous HSP70 production, endogenous meaning it's produced by your body. Application of exogenous HSP70. So there's endogenous HSP70 and exogenous, meaning we're going to get it from outside the body. And I like the article. It's going to take a little bit of study for me to completely understand what it's saying. But I hope that you are motivated to do the research, because if I'm the only one doing this research, then it's going to be slowed down tremendously based upon my availability of time and my comprehension. But what if a half a dozen of us engage in this research? What could we do? What could we do? Let's go forward. I'm almost at the end of today's research. Strategies. These are common strategies that you can do to prevent this decline from happening to you. Regular aerobic exercise, a Mediterranean-style diet rich in omega-3s and polyphenols, good sleep, stress reduction, and intermittent metabolic strategies, time-restricted eating, that's intermittent fasting, are the most evidence-backed natural ways to support molecules that rebuild synapses and rescue memory. For example, by raising BDNF, that's brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and lowering neuroinflammation. These actions work together and are safest when introduced gradually and monitored. So I am engaging in all of those at present. How these actions help the brain. Lifestyle and nutritional measures boost neuroplasticity by increasing growth factors, notably BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, reducing chronic inflammation, improving mitochondrial function, and supplying building blocks for synapses and myelin. Higher BDNF correlates with better learning, memory, and synaptic maintenance. Key: natural holistic actions, what to do and why. Number one, adopt a Mediterranean style diet unless you can go to the next level, which I am at the next level. So Mediterranean style diet, I can appreciate it. That's for the masses. That's better than pizza, buffalo wings, and fast food burgers. But it's not nearly at the level of what we understand about how our diet regulates all aspects of our body's 18 functioning systems. So adopt a Mediterranean style diet, emphasize vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, olive oil, and fatty fish. The only fatty fish they recommend are salmon and sardines. There are other fatty fish too. This pattern supplies omega-3 fatty acids, polyphenols, and antioxidants that support synapse formation and are linked to higher BDNF and better cognition. Point 2. Prioritize long-chain omega-3s, EPA and DHA. These fatty acids are structural components of neuronal membranes and help synaptic signaling. Include fatty fish 2 to 3 times a week or a high quality supplement if needed. And I would also say increase your omega-3 fatty acids from hemp oil, hemp seed oil, from flaxseed oil, chia seeds. All of these are excellent sources. Walnuts, excellent sources. Number 3, eat polyphenol-rich foods. Include berries, dark chocolate, 70% or more percent chocolate, green tea, turmeric, curcumin, and colorful vegetables. These provide flavonoids that promote synaptic plasticity and reduce oxidative stress. Point 4, move daily with aerobic and resistance exercise. Moderate aerobic exercise, 30 to 45 minutes most days. I use HIIT. I'm down from 20 minutes to 10 minutes now because it's cold out and I'm getting uncomfortable out there. And twice weekly resistance training. I do mine every day. Push-ups, that's how I do it. Reliably raise your BDNF levels and improve memory performance in humans and animal models. Point, optimize sleep and circadian health. Regular sleep timing and 7 to 9 hours nightly support memory consolidation and synaptic homeostasis. Poor sleep lowers your BDNF and impairs plasticity. And the word plasticity means the ability of your brain cells, your neuronic structure to rewire itself and also be flexible. Point, use time-restricted eating, intermittent fasting, or intermittent metabolic strategies cautiously. Short daily fasting windows, example given 10 to 12 hour overnight fast or 14-10, and periodic caloric moderation can trigger cellular repair pathways, autophagy, and ketone signaling that support synapses in animal studies. Apply under medical guidance for people with poor health conditions. And I do a 18-6 intermittent fasting strategy. So that's 18 hours. I'm not eating. 6 hours. I confine my eating time to that 6-hour window. Point, manage stress and social cognitive engagement. Chronic stress suppresses plasticity, mindfulness, social connection, and mentally challenging activities help preserve synapses and memory. And then lastly, it says practical 6-week starter plan. Week 1 and week 2, swap to the Mediterranean meals. Add fatty fish twice weekly. Start 20 to 30 minutes of brisk walks 4 times a week. And set fixed sleep schedule. Week 3 and 4, add resistance sessions 2 times a week. Include berries and green tea daily. And try a 12-hour overnight fast. And week 3, Week 5 to 6 and point 3. Increase your aerobic sessions 30 to 45 minutes. Introduce cognitive training, learning a skill and practice. And then a 10-minute daily stress reduction. So I have moved past all of them, and I hope that you are also have went past all of them. Lastly, one more paragraph. I'm going to wrap it up today. Risks, trade-offs, and monitoring. It is important. Sudden extreme diets, prolonged fasting, or very high dose supplements can cause side effects or interact with your medications. Start gradually. Check your vitamin D and vitamin B12 if it is at risk, and consult a clinician before major changes, especially for older adults or those with metabolic or psychiatric conditions. And I cannot dismiss the importance of that last paragraph. Although people come to me when they're at the end of the suffering they can no longer take. People come to me after years of being on hypertension medicines, diabetic, glomerular dysfunction, the lower the ability of the kidneys to filter through the glomerular structures of the kidneys, kidney failure, chronic kidney failure. They come to me at the end of all of these. I wish you would come to me before any of these began. Just come to me and say, Keedy, I'm very concerned about what my body is going to be functioning like 20 years from now, 40 years from now, which means they would come to me in their 30s and in their 40s. I have written the books that you can use to prevent and or reverse stroke. The latest book is out. It's called Living Superfood Solutions. Now, I'll have another one coming out at some time in the future. Better Nutrition Solutions. There are all of these pathways that we can take. You should come to me before your obesity or overweight gets out of control. Come to me for nutrition solutions way before you are diagnosed with cancer. I've told you over the years how to prevent cancer, prostate disease, breast cancer, all of that. We told you stop consuming calf food from cows that are fed all kind of steroids, antibiotics, and other things to increase their milk production, but it's totally unnatural. Come to me in advance. And come to LIB Radio. And if you do get information that you acknowledge helps you prevent disease and disorder, why not become a supporter? What is to hold you back from contributing $5, $10 a month, $20 a month? If you've got a good job, why not pay for a source that you know is going to consistently give you the right information that's culturally appropriate for your team, and that is optimistic about building a global future for our people. There is no reason for you to deny us support. I'm speaking to you very personally right now. I want you to consider LIB Radio. There is a Cash App. It's streaming at the bottom of your screen. It's $KEIDIOBI. That's a Cash App. You can go to the front page of LIB Radio and you can make a contribution. You can make a donation. And be like for Africa One, my beloved sister. Be like her, Sister Shingai. She's magnificent. She is. And she's doing everything that I talk about. Basically, she's doing it. Now, today we went deep. She wrote, I appreciate love the mental workout. Excellent information. Midase, P. Midase, I give you Ashe, P. And that's so wonderful, so beautiful. Coming from you, I wear it like a crown. I do. So thank you for being here, for being responsive. You understand how few people, if you look at the number of people listening right now, it's not very big. They say it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. Well, that's not us. We're not dogs. But it's not the size of the audience in the contest. It is the size of the competition, competitiveness in the audience. We aim to win. We aim to win all of what we need to move forward. And we're going to win. We have everything to gain and everything to lose as well. We have the whole future to gain, 500 years and more. There's, when we're talking about the natural resources that we would recover if we were to decide to claim African continent, then there's a 2,000 year supply of minerals just underneath one country, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the richest natural resource base in the world. 2,000 years at the current rate they're exporting. 2,000 years they could continue at that current rate. And they're exporting raw materials. What if we beat them to it? And we smelted the minerals, smelted the copper, the coltan, turned it into circuit board, an advanced microchip. What if we exported finished products from the DRC? The DRC would go from being amongst the poorest people per capita on the planet to the richest people per capita on the planet within 25 years. Within 25 years. And our monies would stop going to make European people richer, Americans richer. Stop going to make the Chinese, the Japanese, the South Koreans richer. Would stop going to bringing India and Saudi Arabia up to modern terms. Would stop making the Saudis and the United Arab Emirates so much richer. Even the Vietnamese have a plan. The beautiful, humble Vietnamese people. Why do we not send our people to Vietnam to study and go there first to apologize for having gone there before with Urugu's values and customs and his morality? But why do we not go back to Vietnam for those beautiful, humble people? Ho Chi Minh came to Marcus Garvey and studied how to liberate his people. Now we need to go to the sons and daughters, grandchildren of Ho Chi Minh and ask them, how do we liberate ourselves? We have $1.93 trillion in consumer behavior. And only around 207 to 212 billion in productivity. We then go and ask the Vietnamese, how do we use this consumption and turn it into productivity? You're only going to get the answers to these questions by coming to LIB Radio. I'm not the only one. Let me back that up. I'm not the only one talking about solutions. There are a number of different websites just on YouTube and on Rumble and podcasts and different websites. These people are talking about real solutions, viable solutions. But I can assure you that in the United States, the majority of African Americans do not talk about these subjects. And we can do this. We can do whatever we will to do. Rise up, you mighty Africans. You can accomplish what you will, said the great Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Well, who else today is going to mention Marcus Garvey's name? We're here. We're competitive. But we need your support. Some of you already support us. You support us every month with a subscription donation. Some of you want to support us, but you figure you can't do it. I'm paralyzed. I can't do anything unless it is with your assistance. Now, I did get an email. I read a little bit of it today from your brother, my brother, Brother Cyrano, who he and his wife want me to accompany them to Pan-African Mental Health and Wellness Conference in Accra, Ghana. And I would say yes. Yes. It's the first word in response, yes. So let's work it out. Let's talk. If you have an idea of how your experience, your knowledge, your acquired skills, your everything that you have learned across your diaspora journey, and you want to apply that, then let's talk. Let's talk. I've got friends in Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, Ghana. I've got friends across the continent in Ethiopia who can assist all of us to get in early, and get in deep. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement is there for every African on the planet to participate in, including the children can participate in it as well. The children can. I'm saying this. It's time for us to activate our conscious will. Get our head out of the Europeans' backside and move forward. We don't need to be lamenting and moaning, talking about white supremacy is holding us back any longer. We can stop that anytime. However, it's going to cost us something to liberate ourselves. Liberation is not cheap. It's not free. Maintenance of it requires that we constantly input into it to maintain our freedom and our autonomy and our sovereignty, because the enemy of our freedom is constantly upping this game. We can do great things. And on such a note, I'm going to wrap it up. I am going to remind you, you can donate to our December fund drive. Cash App, $ KEIDIOBI, and or go to the front page of http://libradio.com and look for the subscription link at the bottom of the page. I thank you all for being a part of what we do. You are so, so important. And there's nothing that we can't accomplish together. So let's do this thing. I'm putting up this link to everyone to participate. And buy the books. There are 3 books right now I am strongly featuring. These 3 books are the African future. They are forged by fire, and the global wellness future, the global wellness economy. And all of these books point to ways that we can create economic prosperity for our people. So thank you for what you do. You've been tuned into your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio, LIB TV. We are livinginblack.com. I wish you all peace and prosperity to each and every one of you on your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio, LIB TV. We are livinginblack.com. Peace, y'all.